bam bam. Ay. I know. I am also listening to the instrumental. Chanikwambia ile siku nitashikwa nikichezesha ngoma za wenyewe kwa hii podcast. Sijui nitafanya nini, but anyway, welcome. Karibuni sana kwa episode ya 5. Okay, I did not know where that accent came from, but welcome very much to the Cordial Podcast, episode 5, and I am really happy to be here. I hope you're happy too. As I've said, man, I'm a fan of instrumentals, and at this juncture, I would like to first of all apologize for the last episode's technicalities. Ni duru za kuaminika ama ni nduru? Anyway, duru za kuaminika zinasema Mungai got a little bit carried away with the instrumentals, but I'm sorry, I apologize for that. That is definitely a technical hit. Nitaambia sound engineer awache mchezo. Unasikia wewe? Awache mchezo. Anyway, that was a small mistake. I think I need to understand a bit more of how sound works, but tuseme tu kweli. Hizo instrumentals ni fiti. I have been a fan of instrumentals for years and years. It's actually funny because I got introduced to them with a relative, and you know, when we talk about instrumentals, the first time I had an interaction with them was in movies. You know, like when movies are they introducing music, all that, and I got really into it. And this particular relative of mine was somebody who's also interested, and he had a whole bunch of them, folders and folders. So listening to them at a young age of around probably 13 years, I got interested. And even right now, I am still one of those people who say, you know, when I get my own car and the and the music system has to be good, I think for long journeys I will pick, you know, have that particular folder or playlist of instrumentals. But anyway, that is not the topic of today, but I'm glad that you're here. That was just a by the way. I hope you're also a fan of instrumentals, because it takes some time to pick one for each and every episode that I create. It's still a tough decision to make. I'm still looking for one particular signature intro music that I'll use specifically for this podcast, but that will mean a bit of creativity from my end, and you know, just better planning to do. But as of now, let's just enjoy. We enjoy the instrumentals that we have that have no copyright apart from hii ya leo nikipatikana, mi atasiwa chochi. Hii ya leo nikipatikana, it's over and done with. Like itabidi mumenitoa jela. But anyway, welcome very much. This is actually a Thursday evening. I've been really trying to find a good time to be recording this podcast, but chanikwambia kama una studio, life is tough, but that's where you start, you know. I'm grateful for this part of the journey. And as I've said, today is Thursday, the 11th of January. Happy New Year. Kama sikuwa nimekwambia Happy New Year. How are you doing? How is your second week of the new year? I hope by listening to the previous podcast, you had a really introspective time to actually think about what 2024 lies ahead for you and your whole life. I am glad to be here to have another really good topic of discussion that I have really tried to pin down and also write down and get to know what exactly I am going to talk about today. Well, to be honest, before I even continue, I am ninatafuta mtu wa kufanya na hii podcast. I am looking for guests, and hopefully before I reach the 10th episode, I will have a few guests to be on the show. Should I call it a show? Okay, for this production, so that conversations can be more lively and you guys can know a bit more of Mungai and how he handles his interactions. Kama nakuanga na stories za jaba ama ni tu kukua serious every time. But anyway, so today's topic of discussion, after a lot of story mingi hapo za jaba, it is about reflection. Sindio? Reflection. Reflection ni nini? What exactly is reflection? And I know right now the first thing that you had, or your first thoughts that you had when you had the name reflection, is definitely you in front of a mirror, right? Yes, correct. I know, because that is the same thing that came to my mind. Reflection. When you stand on a mirror, because that's the first reflection we've always been curious about, the reflection of you. You know, it's actually funny that we will never get to, as humans, you'll never get to meet yourself. Do you understand? Like, we will always see ourselves from a point of reflection. So what does that mean? Reflection is actually something very superior, because that is the only way you get to know you, and you get to know what makes you you. Sikia kizungu. Yeah, so my first question of this time is, what do you see in that mirror when you look at yourself? What do you actually see? Because honestly, for me, I won't lie, most of the time that I have looked myself in the mirror, I have always been a person who tries to look for flaws on my face, on my body. You know, like, the first thing that comes into mind is, bro, uko na shida? Mapua yako sijui kama ni kubwa ni ndogo, isingekuwa ina point kidogo mbele nyuma. Mbona una lashes? Kijana, mbona una lashes? Ulipeleka? Kumbe kijana alijinyoa akiwa na miaka 12. Haya, unaona sasa struggles. But yeah, and I don't know about you. Do you actually stand there and the first thing that comes into your mind is looking for your flaws? Is that the first thing that you look at? Because for me, as I've said, I struggle with it, and it has been a really long journey of trying to change my thoughts from negativity, a lot of negativity, to positivity. There was a time a few years back, I was like, no, I can no longer call myself not attractive. I think I'll start handling myself as an attractive person. And unfortunately for that, it got me in a really bad place, because I got pride. Now pride came into me. I was like, I'm attractive, so yes, that is how I'm going to carry myself. And it really ruined the interactions I had with people, because unajua ukijiona ati uende umeiva, ati we, life always humbles you, because unaweza jibeba hivyo, alafu you'd think somebody would actually want to talk to you just because you're attractive. Jabba. But anyway, I had a few interactions that actually put me in my place during that time, and I realized it is not bad to actually recognize that you're attractive. The problem is how you handle it. Now you handle it with the interactions that you have with people. And personally, for me, I realized I might be attractive, but not to everyone. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And once you get to realize that, then you get to experience life from a different perspective of like, you can be you without actually wanting you to be seen as you want to see yourself in everyone. Right? Correct? Yes. So that was actually a good part of my life that I loved, because it was that learning period, like Mungai trying to get out from negativity to positivity, but then that positivity was turned to pride, and pride is really bad. I know from the previous episode you had me a bit chime in on saying or chime in on showing that I have values and principles that are Christian based and nothing else. I won't lie, I will always go back to that, because that has been my standing point. That will always be my foundation, and I can never leave that. And so pride isn't really a good thing. I started learning more about pride, and pride is not really what we think of just somebody who's showing off and all that. Pride is also you standing in front of that mirror and not recognizing what you're made of. That is pride, because somebody made you, and you are made actually by God or superior being, and that came into manifesting with your parents or with your lineage and all that. And every single person has their own way of being them, and that is really a really fulfilling journey, to actually sit down and try to look at your lineage, trying to look at what you actually stand for, what you have been taught throughout your life, and I would love to call that self-reflection, because self-reflection, I think, is something that is needed, especially in our generation. Nyinyi watu wa Gen Z, kila wakati mkipiga nduru hapa ati Gen Z. Yes, Gen Z. I think it's high time we take self-reflection as a really, really big deal, apart from having just history of how life has been to people or the previous generations. We are actually at a standpoint in life or age where we have a lot of information in our hands. Most of it is bad or is fake. Probably fake. I should use fake and lies of all sorts of kind. But we have the opportunity to actually have information, and we should actually decipher them into something that actually builds us and not separate us. Unfortunately, the information that we have on our hands separates us more than it should bring us together. History is a really, really important fact, because even me recording this episode at this time is history, and so I think it's time that even when we are self-reflecting, we take into account that life has its turns, life has its lessons, and all that is based on self-reflection. And so today, even before I clicked the record button, I was like, what exactly is self-reflection? Like, have you ever been on a journey and say, I want to know who Mungai is, I want to know who Njeri is, I want mtanisamea bana, mimi nashinda tu nikisema Njeri, sijui ni kwa nini hiyo jina ilinishika to refer to the opposite gender. But yeah, put your name there in that statement and actually ask yourself that. And also ask yourself, is self-reflection that hard of a task to do? Because as I've said, we are in an age where Gen Z is really trying to do a lot of things, and We are trying to show the previous generations that we are better than them. We are trying to show the previous generations that we know more, and we don't want to do some things that they are accustomed to do. And all these things are really dividing us. I don't like it. Me personally, I do not like it, because I prefer going to the older generations and actually learning from them, acknowledging that they had their own struggles, they had their own time to know what is good for them and what is bad for them, and they had their own things to do. And so when it comes to our turn as Gen Z, we actually have to take it as a learning process and not a process that can spite the other generations. And that is, I think, one of the main reasons why the previous generations are so against Gen Z, even in the workplaces, even in the each and every environment that a Gen Z is in. And so, do we actually take it as serious as it is supposed to be? And one of the words I came across when I was researching about self-reflection was sincere. And of course, ukienda kugoogle inakwambianga it's a Latin name, sijui sincerus, anga sijui from which year it was tested, anga sijui nini. But anyway, there is something that I was listening to somebody who mentioned about what sincere is, and however much Google says it's about being pure and all that, this person actually used the phrase that being sincere is being tested by light. Being tested by light. I don't know if you get that. Like if you call yourself sincere, that means that you have light in you. And light, of course, brings forth you can say knowledge. Light is a lot of things. And so even you're sitting there, are you pure? Do you think everything that you do comes from a point of being pure? Comes from a point of you showing light to everything that you do? Is us as Gen Z, does kila kitu yenye tunafanya, is it from a point of actually pure intentions, or is it from spite and wanting to feel like you're better than the other person? So what exactly is it? What exactly is it? And so even as you're sitting there, even as you're listening to Mungai rant about his own generation, what is your view on that? What is your view on what self-reflection and being sincere is about? Are all your actions about being there for people or being there for yourself? What exactly do you think stands for you? And as I've said, Gen Z, we have a lot of working to do, because as time moves by, I have noticed like we are so engaged into thinking that we have to have things in our own way. If it is not in our own way, then it is not good and it is bad and it should be condemned. And to be honest, one principle I live by is that we cannot live by ourselves. We cannot promote individuality to an extent that it creates a drift between the connections and relations we have with people. Yeah. And it is something that I've seen that is clearly happening in everything that we do. You want to feel good, and if you don't feel good, then it is the problem of the other person. We do not actually care if other people can have inputs in our lives, and it's time we actually take into it's time we actually take things into our own hands and actually say that we do not want to create a drift in communities, because I think the world thrives in communities. There are very different communities. School is a community, Family is a community. Your neighbors is a community. Hiyo rende yote ya exes wako hiyo ni community ya Mungai. Lakini we Mungai doesn't have a community of exes. Hiyo ni jaba. Anyway, story for another day. But yeah, I think we should actually sit down and put it into pillars or foundations that we actually need to build communities that we can thrive in, and that's why there's a lot of communities outside here that are created to actually make people thrive in. And one of them actually, lazima niwapatie shout out. I have to give a shout out to Tabasamu Tamu concepts by none other than Kavalaji. I hope I pronounce that name well. Unajua hii jina mimi sijui ulitoa wapi bro. Sijui ulitoa wapi, but yeah, that is one of the communities that I actually respect, because it is actually Kavalaji. Just I always sit down and try to think how people who come up with these ideas of creating communities and just wanting people to feel better and to be better in a world that is really coming down on our necks, and as I've said, I am here for that. I am here for such communities. And so Tabasamu Tamu has been one of a community that I have actually thrived in, and I love it that even more people are thriving in it. We have hangouts each and every wacha niacha kusema each and every, because hapo ndio tulikuwa tumeanza nimeanza kuongea ni kama mimi ndio mkubwa. But anyway, you can check them out. But yeah, as I'm saying, communities out here are being created, and unfortunately these communities are being created, but outside here more things are being propagated to actually divide these communities. And I think it's time we actually do things better. We actually set ourselves apart and say we want communities that can actually be there for everyone of us. You might not be somebody who likes partying and drinking and smoking, but you will find definitely a community that you can thrive in everything that you do. If you're a reader, you will find something. You will find a community. If you are a person who loves tech and all that, you will find a community. And so this is Mungai. This is Mungai actually telling you who is listening to actually find a community. And if you can't find one, build one, because you're capable, because you're a human. You're human enough to create interactions with people and relations with people. You have been there, you will be there, and I don't know what else to say. But yeah, so as we're talking about self-reflection, I hope this comes to your mind that we can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. You love kutokea asubuhi. You're the early people who wake up early. You want to be at a place on time or in time. There is always a community for you. Ndio maana ukiingia kwa hiyo matatu, sisi watu wa Super Metro unapatananga na watu wa asubuhi, na watu wa jioni wanapatana na watu. You see, like you'll always find people in whatever decision that you make. There is always somebody else who is also making the same decision, and you'll always find yourself there. You are one person who wants to open up, and you're trying to look for people who actually open up and actually understand how you feel when opening up is a conversation. You will always find that community. You will always find people around you that can actually appreciate you of how you are. So please, Gen Z, tafadhali. This is me actually begging you guys to, take self-reflection as something that is serious enough, so that it can also propagate our communities to be better, our societies to be better, and we will all win together. And so I have to say this. This is the first part of this reflection journey, and I am glad that we've come to the end of najua hata mimi nilikuwa nataka kuongea mingi lakini hey, jamani time, but yeah, we've come to the first part of reflection for this episode. The next episode will definitely be a part 2 of this, and I hope it will be as fruitful as this has been. I hope I've put something in your mind to think about, something to actually sit down and write about, as we agreed from the previous episode that we need to write things down and actually work on them. There is no other way, by the way. There is no other way to win in this life than writing down your goals, writing down what you want to do for yourself, and time will always prove to it that it was a worthy skill or thing to do, and yeah, you'll be proud of yourself. So this is Mungai Kang'ong'oi signing out to our 5th episode. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Najua nimeharibu, but thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for listening. As I've said, this is Mungai Kang'ong'oi and this is the Cordial Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm glad that you're here. Please share if this is content that actually resonates with your life, that actually resonates with your community. Yes. But anyway, thank you for listening. Have a really great and splendid day at whatever time you're listening at, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.